everyone, Jason Voogt here from Field2Field Agronomy, and just outside of Elm Creek, checking on a canola field here. I'll get you to have a quick look at it. As you can see, the canola field is very weedy. This is one of those field situations that we had this year where frost injury, slow emergence, and then of course battered with flea beetles, then heat, everything else. And so trying to wait on the crop to recover, weeds to recover before we spray here. So obviously this is not the ideal timing. Very large grassy weeds here, as well as broadleaves like your buckwheat, lamb's quarter, volunteer oats, because this was oats last year. There'll be some wild oats in here, ladies thumb or green smartweed. So we have those things going on here that are really out of stage. So a couple things to highlight going forward this week. It's going to be a big spray week, warm temperatures. We're going to be battling the wind again, so choose your timings when you look at application. When we're using burn down products like glufosinate ammonia or Liberty here, which is what we're going to be doing here, let's keep the water volumes up to help with coverage on these larger weeds, as well as to maybe help manage the the safety aspect on the crop. So with a situation like this, we're going up to a 1.62 Liberty because we are only going to probably get one shot at this. We're going to be adding in the Centurion to help with grass control. The other thing to keep in mind too is timing. So we're going to be heading into a warm day, so we're going to be easily be able to utilize the temperatures to help. But in some cases we might want to be looking at other crops like flax, if we're spraying those this week, that to be timing those towards the evening just to make it a little bit easier on those crops, because they're definitely a lot more sensitive to metabolizing that herbicide through temperatures like we're going to be experiencing today, high 20s into low 30s. Another thing to keep in mind here too, this week is going to be the wind, as I mentioned before, and there are a number of products on the marketplace, but what we've seen working really effectively are products like Interlock, adding those in to help with managing those fine droplet sizes, creating more medium ones to get more of that product down to the surface and onto that target. It's not going to change the size of the larger droplets, but at least it helps with managing that drift somewhat. It has its limits too. It's not a be-all end-all by any means, but we have seen guys with some success to help them with that, especially when you're looking for coverage. The other thing and last thing I'm going to mention that's happening this week is, again, insects. And so unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, we're kind of starting to get over that hump of flea beetles, but what we're running into now is definitely more issues with grasshoppers. The nymphs have been starting to hatch now over the last week and a half, but we're seeing already fields with borders getting sprayed in soybeans as well as canola, and that hatch is just beginning, so we're going to be seeing that. So that is going to be another focus this week, is looking at the hoppers and maintaining and staying on top of those. Also watch for things like a lot of glyphosate's going to go down this week on corn and soybeans, to be on top of the things like your drift again, as I mentioned, but also dusting, from those wheel tracks, and trying to maybe time it early morning or evening where there's maybe some dew to help with that. So yeah, those are the highlights from what we're going to be looking at going forward this week. Talk to you later.